Hello and welcome to Arn. This is Paul Bromwell, and today, as always, here on the Four Horsemen Network and One True Sport, I'm joined by the Hall of Famer, the founder of the Four Horsemen, the creator of that spine buster, putting spines on the pines, the 1A Tag Team Wrestling, my current tag team partner, Mr. Arn Anderson. Arn, how are you here in December? It's crazy. The month's flying by already. December 10th, man.
That's the part that I can't believe is it's already almost the middle of December. Wow. Where did the year go, buddy?
And this is it. This is our final Arn of the year, Arn show of the year. As we mentioned, we were here a week ago. And so we're getting together for the very last time. We'll get together at the beginning of January. It'll be 2025. But my goodness, the year has flown by. And it's just crazy. We were just together last week talking about your big event. By the way, I see lots of questions coming in. So before we talk about GalaxyCon, guys, throw those questions in. Don't forget Super Chat. Super Chat will be on the screen. They'll be getting answered. Hey, it's Christmas time. Arn's got a few stocking stuffers and gifts. I'm sure he's still got to take care of Aaron and Brock. So we really appreciate your support with the Super Chat for sure. He's doing less and less travel on the road. So it really does mean a lot. But I want to ask you, Arn, speaking of being on the road, GalaxyCon, talk to us about that. How was it with you and Brock?
Columbus, Ohio was great. I mean, they had a huge show for their business, the Star Wars stuff, the actors and all that stuff. But Jake was there, the Steiner brothers were there, Jerry Lawler was there, Foley was there, Trish and Lita. It was pretty good star power on our side too, but we had a really good time together, and I got to spend quality time with Brock, and that's what these things really represent for me. And a thank you to the fans for all their support over the last 42 years. So it was a great weekend.
Man, it's so glad to hear it. And I knew you were amped about going to Columbus. I forgot about that. It was Trish and Lita were doing a big event because it was an anniversary for when they main evented Raw. So they did like a big show out there. It was a big event for those two. And that was in Columbus as well. So I'm glad it was a good turnout for you. And you got to see a lot of fans and give out a lot of hugs and signatures and well wishes to a lot of the people that support you, man.
A lot of thank yous, and they're heartfelt, and I was very fortunate to get to talk to a lot of folks. So it was a good weekend, really was.
Not only that, was it a good weekend that from that perspective. And by the way, I see some super chats coming in already, and you guys are absolutely incredible. Dan, Efren, my goodness. And we'll get to those here in a minute. I want to talk a little bit about Georgia football because, buddy, they pulled off another overtime stunner. We're going to call them the Heart Attack Kids. They beat Texas 22-19, SEC title, the SEC champions, but man, not without a major blow. The quarterback going down, Carson Beck, big time loss for you guys, but another SEC title. Congrats.
Drama. If you're not a Georgia fan, you got to hate their guts because they get throttled for 3/4 of every game and take that one quarter and either play catch up or go ahead or something. They pull it out, and but you got to, you're expecting them, they're getting beat up, you're expecting them to lose, and somehow they figure out a way to win. So I guess that's mark of a true champion. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see for sure because they're up against it now. They play the winner of Indiana Notre Dame. They get a bye, so they get some time off. But it already sounds like Carson Beck's not going to play. Enter Gunnar Stockton. Arn, I don't know if this is Georgia's year, buddy. I guess we'll see.
Well, he came in on this first possession and drove down the field and looked professional, and for a touchdown. And then things started to cool off a little bit. You thought, okay, well, that was great for one score, but you need more than that. And things started slowing down, and it led to, Georgia having to really dig. And that's what they do, some way, somehow.
It was, and they got it done, and all he has to do is hand it off to the running back, ETN. So that kid, he's a talented running back. So we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, I mean that was
yeah.
the drama too. The final,
Yeah.
when the starting quarterback came back in, and they had already talked about his injury, and they said that arm is just hanging. That was one of the announcers. It was like, what's he going to do? His arm's just hanging. The most basic football play there is, a power eye, straight handoff, busted through the end of the end zone, and that was the motivation they needed, I guess. And it won the game.
Wow, so good. Well, big weekend for Arn, GalaxyCon, big win from Georgia. Holidays are coming. You just mentioned to me, Aaron's starting to decorate. So are you guys getting ready for Christmas and New Year's and all that good stuff?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all just going to be here at the house, and we're with the family. And Smokey's got on his Christmas bow tie, which he's pissed about.
I love it.
He don't like it.
Yeah, is that all Aaron's idea? Putting that bow tie on little Smokey?
Yeah. She got the heat for it. That's for sure. He mad at her.
Oh, that's I bet it looks cute though. I love it. I said Georgia the heart attack kids, and Efren immediately says Paulie is also known as the heart attack kid. So there you go, Efren. Thank you for your contribution. $1.99. Efren sent $20 in, and he said, I know. Well, he's an amazing friend, by the way. I've been very close friends with Efren for, my goodness, 6 years? Longtime friends. He said, I stopped watching the American Gladiators documentary just now to watch you guys. Happy holidays to you and Aaron, Arn, Paul. You're welcome. So there you go. Classic Efren, always giving me a hard time, but he's a great guy, Arn.
We are flattered.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, buddy. We're all family. That's for sure.
For sure. And means a ton to have you here with us tonight, Efren. Continue to get those in. I'm going to continue to read more. So you're ready for the holidays. And I'm excited too. It's going to be nice to have some time off for sure. And you get to unwind a little bit. So any big traditions you look forward to, Arn? Or is it just kind of quiet? You, Aaron, and Brock and Smokey?
We just, again, I go back to the same hold every time. I spent so many decades.
The same hold. I love it.
Traveling and having to leave on Christmas morning or having to leave on Thanksgiving morning. I never had those full days of when you can enjoy a holiday like you should. And now I can. It seems like not much to a lot of people who are home all the time. It's not a big deal, but when you're never home, you find out just how important it is just hanging out with your family and your neighbors and just being home.
We just threw on Christmas Vacation the other night, and it feels like, okay, now it's time to actually that set the tone. We're in Christmas spirit, Christmas season. We started our Chevy Chase, kicked it off with Chevy Chase, so we're ready to go around here.
And you know what? We've all watched that movie 50 times, and it's still entertaining.
Yep, still entertained, just like we watched it the first time. Let's get into it, guys. Enough small talk. It's time. This is dedicated for you and for your questions, and we're really excited to have all you here. We're going to start with you, Dan. And if I tried to say your last name, Efren, who's watching now, would just light me up the country for the next several months. Arn, do you want to take a shot at saying Dan's last name, or what do you think? Papathopoulos? Dan, tell me in the chat if I nailed it. You gave us $10. I better be able to nail it.
Well, you didn't even give me a chance.
Well, you go ahead. What do you think?
No, you did it right, I think. I'm pretty sure
you're going to go correct. With mine? You're going to go with mine.
I'm pretty sure you're correct.
All right, Dan, you'll have to let us know. You don't have to super chat us to tell me either. I'll look for you here in a minute. He said, Arn, your early dates with Erin included her family due to her age at the time. But were you working heel at the time? How does a heel convince a lady he's really a good guy without breaking kayfabe? I love it.
It's not possible. It's one or the other. There's professional you who they can sit in the audience, and and boo the piss out of you. And then there's the you that's sitting on the couch watching TV and just more or less trying to integrate yourself into the family. And it's two separate entities.
And so she was able to easily identify that with you right away.
Oh, yeah. I mean, really a smart lady, you know, Aaron's mom, and raised some kids pretty much by herself, and worked a full-time job on top of that, and was very resourceful, very smart. I mean, she got it. She just happened to be like most people that are wrestling fans. She just would enjoy occasionally going to the wrestling matches, and just, if you've never been to a live event, you don't know what I'm talking about. But in those days, it was good guys, bad guys. There was a story. You knew what the story and who was mad at who, and it was just fun to attend.
She understood the business early and fell in love with you early, Arn. That charm and that promo ability carried over into the dating life with Aaron.
Well, and as I got more advanced, and I knew this is it. This is the one. I just assured her and her brothers and her uncle that they had my word, I would take care of her. And in knowing certain terms as very best I could.
Brothers and uncle wrestling fans by chance?
Not so much.
Okay.
And they were I guess they were tentative about, you know, that I would treat her properly, and I was not just what they saw on TV, that really was not me. And they were smart enough to know. So, you know, I spent some time with them and reassured them that I would take care of their sister. And
that's great.
Yep.
I don't know that I've heard that part of the story before, but makes sense when that protective brothers, the protective uncle, and then they see this mean-spirited heel on TV, and they're not really that familiar with wrestling, and they're probably think, who's this jerk? So you got to win them over too.
It took a little sorting out, you know, it did. I'm sure on their part, but like I said, once I figured it out, and that was the one, I did whatever I had to make sure the family was okay with the choice.
That Arn, will just jump right back into it. You ready for our next super chat? It's Tim Angston, and he says, "Sorry, my Eagles beat your Panthers, but they didn't make it as easy as all the experts said." That's right. Bryce Young starting to look decent here, Arn, the last few games. Have you been paying attention? Or what are you on him?
I've said from the beginning, I want to be a fan and I want to cheer for him. You know, it's not like I'm just going to sit here on my high chair and just say they suck and all that, because that's not the way it is. It's an event to go to a professional football, you know, game in your hometown and pull for your hometown team. It's a big deal. It's an event. It's something outstanding. But just getting a little better each game and still not winning, man, just leaves you feeling empty.
Yeah, but you know what? They were hanging in there with the Eagles. I was paying attention to that game, and I don't know. He goes on. Okay. And by the way, thank you, Tim. $10 super chat. You're the man.
Thanks,
if you would create a version of the Four Horsemen with the Panthers, are there four that you would pick, Arn, right now for the Four Horsemen from the Panthers?
No, I don't know.
What about all time? The all time? Because Brock came on 2 shows ago, was talking about some of the great players that he grew up with, the Greg Olsons and some of those guys. Are there four guys that stand out in your mind that you really liked on this franchise over time?
Well, see, you've caught me now. I know the faces and all that. I mean, it's Greg, obviously the tight end.
Yeah, Greg Olson, Julius Peppers,
inside linebacker.
Kuechly. Luke Kuechly. Yeah.
Kuechly, and the one that they ring the bell for, that is like the stalwart linebacker that was
Thomas Davis.
No, but he's pretty damn good. I mean,
I remember the days of Jake Delhomme, Tim Biakapatuka. Who else?
This guy's the flagship that they go out and hit the drum for. That's
I can't remember.
Number 31, I think.
I'm not a Panthers fan. Sam Mills.
Sam Mills.
There you go, Ryan Nodal. Thank you, buddy. You're clutch. Thank you for that.
It's embarrassing, guys. One of the things that is manifested itself with me is I cannot remember names and punchlines and things that I should be able to. It's just
okay. It's father time, buddy. Catches everyone in different ways. You totally get a pass.
Doesn't make it any easier. It really doesn't. And when you know it's right there in your mind, it's on the tip of your tongue, and you know what you're talking about, you just can't put a name with it or a date.
You're on the spot too. I struggle on the spot. These guys know that. I mean, give me a break. Instagram wrestling historian. He says, Paul, why are you using McDonald's Wi-Fi? Buddy, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on here. I rebooted before this show. Arn can tell you, because I was in panic mode, praying that this was not going to occur during the show. So I apologize, but thank you for the McDonald's Wi-Fi. Good stuff. Thank you also for the super chat. Mark Webster's up next, and he says, let's show this one. Thank you. Got any Dothan, Alabama NWA stories?
Yeah, I got cut there one night. Cut in the back, making my way out of the arena. Or not out of the arena, but from where the ring was, it was dirt floors. And the barricades were not very wide. And we had done something dastardly, my partner, Jerry Stubbs, and I, and we're making our way out of there. And I just felt like a bee stung me.
Oh.
It was one of those weird feelings that you just, as you're making your way, and I didn't slow down or stop. I just kept going. But it's one of those things that you feel like, okay, if you've ever been stung with a like a high-tech bee, bumblebee or wasp or one of those, it'll sting you a little bit. That's what it felt like. And I went, damn, that didn't feel right. Kept going, got in the locker room, walked up, turned my back to the mirror, and there was about a 3-inch slice, about a 1/4 inch deep. And that just let me know that could have went deeper and wider. So I lucked out.
Did they get the guy? I mean,
don't know. Went all the way to the locker room and never heard. We were on last. I think we had our stuff packed, anticipating something like that. You don't want to get caught out in the middle of a bunch of pissed off fans, irate, in a parking lot that's dark, and that's the way it was set up in Dothan. So I think we put our stuff in the bags in the car so that we just came right out of the aisleway, straight out the back door, jumped in the car, and took off.
You were making such good money, eliciting such a crazy reaction. But now here's incidents like this. There's the Oli incident. Was there ever a time where you were like, this shit isn't worth it? I could lose my life with these crazy fans. Did you ever have that thought?
Never.
Okay.
There's not a day that I spent in the business that I was not honored and thrilled and tickled to death to be there. And even though there was risks, and there are risks in our business to this day, but in those days what did you expect? We would spend our television show pissing people off. That night they would come to the arena and we have sufficiently pissed them off. What do you expect them to do? We did exactly what we meant to do, and it was intentional. And that was what gave the release to the fans that wanted to cheer for some guys and boo the other guys. And that was it. You did everything you can to piss them off. Now don't worry about the fact. Don't get mad because you pissed them off.
It was the generation of it was real to me, damn it. And some of those folks brought the knives and forks and whatever else with them. My goodness.
Throw a pint whiskey bottle at you from the upper deck. A lot of dangerous.
That's unbelievable. I can't even. It sounds like ECW. Efren is back, and he has given us another $20.
Oh, Thank you, sir.
Santa Claus has shown up for the Arn show, and his name is Efren. But he says, "All right, Arn, give us the Lundy or Anderson Christmas meal, from desserts to drinks and all the casseroles in between. What do you have to have?"
Well, we had our fill, I think, of ham and turkey. Now, there's been times in the past that we would just have it all over again for Christmas, but what we do now, since I've managed to make a couple bucks, we will buy about 6 rib, which is about like this, prime rib, lobster tails. Yep. Twice baked potatoes, stuffed mushrooms, deviled eggs. Have to have rolls because on the second go around, you slice off some of that prime rib and put in those rolls, warm them up. You know, Daddy. And peanut butter cookies with a kiss in the middle, and no bake chocolate cookies. That's pretty much. Now, there may be some add-ons or a takeaway or two, but that don't
Efren,
suck.
I think he pretty much knocked it out of the park, pal.
My wife knocks it out of the park. That's for damn sure. What a cook.
And she so you just said it. She prepares that whole spread, from the lobster tails to the prime rib to the stuffed mushrooms, all of it.
You know who's become a tremendous cook is Brock.
Get out.
No, he just wades in there and helps big time. And, he's learning to cook that stuff for when his mom's not around. And, he's good. He's a good chef. He's really good on the steaks. I mean, big time.
I think Efren enjoyed all those descriptions, and he knows how I'm a foodie too. So that was a home run. He said, "You know it, Daddy." Efren, or should I say Efren Claus, thank you so much. And we are getting so many super chats, guys. This is making our night. I have a list here to ask Arn. This is incredible what is happening now, and I just want to say thank you, guys. You ready for the next one? Let's keep it rolling. This is fantastic. Here we go. Next super chat, Mark Webster. Might have been asked before, but if you had to win one, is it the NWA big gold belt or the 10 pounds of gold? Which one would you have loved to hold in your hands? That big gold belt or the NWA, the classic Harley race, 10 pounds of gold?
That's a hard choice. One, I think cosmetically is more impressive, but the one that Harley and the Briscoes and all those guys have represent performance in the ring, bell to bell, our Broadways, Terry Funk, half killing himself, much less his opponent, Flair traveling the world. All those champions that had that belt, Harley, who made it mean something.
Prestigious.
Yeah, I would have to probably, if you're going to look back in your career and which one you held, maybe I think that might be get the nod.
For sure. I don't blame you. As much as I love the big gold, and when it came out, it looked like the ultimate trophy, prize, and piece. To your point, when you talk about the prestige and the history and the lineage, it's hard to beat the 10 pounds of gold for sure. A wrestling historian is back. Thank you. Great question. Is back with another question. Love to have you. He said, "What's your favorite singles and tag team match?" Favorite singles match and favorite tag team match?
Maybe, God, I don't know if I have one favorite singles. I could tell you the tag match would be Ole and I against the Rock and Roll Express cage match, Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay.
Um,
That was a bash, I believe. Great American Bash.
yeah,
Or no. Was it a Starcade? I think Starcade
I think
'86.
it was Starcade. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I was too.
and even though the fact that they went in the champions and left the champions
Yeah.
didn't matter. It was one of those contests that you knew something was at
Starcade.
stake. Yeah, and it was a big event. Um, I wrestled Muda when I first came back from WWF in a singles match, and he was the TV champion, and he had Buzz and um, Gary Hart was his manager, and what was the other guy that was in that group?
Muda, Buzz Sawyer, yeah, Gary Hart. Remember the group? Man, I'm trying to think. Funk.
He was one of the original guys that spit the stuff. One of the Japanese boys. Sakurada. Was that it?
Kabuki? The great Kabuki?
Kabuki.
Yeah.
But I think they might have called him something else. Not sure. Don't know why. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But anyway, I came back and I wrestled that for the TV title, and those guys were all ringside, so I had to overcome a lot. Bud Sawyer and Kabuki and Gary Hart on the outside, Muda on the inside, and was able to sneak one off. And that TV title always meant a lot to me because of the things that you had to go through to keep it. And you were always 10, 15 minutes on TV, which may seem not like a lot of time, but 15 minutes at 9:30 in the morning can be a little trying.
It was Starcade '86. Thank you, wrestling historian, for that. It looks like some folks in the chat are saying it was the Dragon Masters.
Dragon Master, that's it.
Yeah. And so you have that. And real quick before I get back to the super chats, because we got time, I want to make sure that I recognize some of our regular folks that are here, between Darth Payne, and I know I saw CG Artis is here, and so many of you. Andrew Big Red, you're with us. Ryan Nodal, I know that you're here. You were talking about earlier, I don't know if you saw this, I'll just jump in with some baseball and then go back into some of these super chats. But the Braves pitcher, Max Fried, signed with the Yankees. And then he mentioned Juan Soto's contract. So what do you think? Losing Max Fried, that's kind of a hit to your Braves.
It is.
Is that a big pickup for the Yankees?
Well, I don't think Max is who he was before he got hurt. But he came back and he still was very competitive. So does he have something to offer? Yes, absolutely. And it'll be one of the Braves that, that'll leave, and they will go and he will flourish with the new team that he's on, which will be the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
And Yankees, they had a good year this year. It wasn't what the Dodgers had, but it was a pretty damn good year. It was second place that nobody ever remembers, but
yeah.
I think he'll be
now
very successful.
Lose Soto to the Mets, to the crosstown rival Mets, for a record-breaking deal. Arn, $765. Where does it stop? Where does it end? Money, the contract size.
Well, a lot of people are going to jump on that and say nobody's worth that kind of money and all the negatives. My take is, if they're able to pay that to a single player, how much money is the owner making? He's got to be making unbelievable to be able to pay that out and never blink. You know what I mean?
I saw a hilarious tweet that said the Pirates were trying to sign him. I think it was $15 million over 765 years. It's hilarious. And I guess they lost those sweepstakes. That was so true.
Wow.
But yeah, massive contracts, and it's that time of year in baseball. We'll keep going. Salvatore's up next with a super chat. Is it possible for a wrestler to give you a firm, real man's handshake and not be stiff in the ring.
Yeah, I prefer the handshake like a grown man. I'm not much on the dead fish. And I understand the goal of that in the past. And it was basically sending a message to you that, I'm not going to drop you on your head. I'm not going to cripple you. I'm not going to do anything that's going to send you back to your family in an ambulance, is the intention of, I think, the relaxed handshake. I'm just never been a big fan of that. We're going to go have a contest and we're going to get physical. And that's the name of the game. And that's what we're selling. So shake my hand like a man. That's just not me being a hard ass. That's just kind of the way I approached life.
Right. Crossroads Explorers is up next, and he says, hey guys, Arn, any good memories of Asheville, North Carolina?
On those nights that we would run like a Charleston, West Virginia, or somewhere where we would stay over and do a little drinking, because we had Asheville in the afternoon on Sunday, and we would land at that airport, go to the building. And the one thing you could count on, if you were just a shade hungover, they had the coldest water that came out of those showers that there has ever been. It was spring water, I assume, because it was so cold you could barely stand under it. It'd wake you up and nip you up, though, however, for that 1 o'clock show.
Well, that's all the rage now, is people to jump in those ice tubs. So it sounds like they had it down pat early.
I loved it.
They were early adopters.
I mean, take a shower before you work and after, you were brand new again.
Yeah, right. Reinvigorated.
With a big sweat in betwixt.
Yeah, there you go. Daisy Mama, a question for us, not a super chat, but she says, Merry Christmas, Arn and Paul. Daisy Mama, Merry Christmas to you. And she says to the rest of our Arn podcast family, and that's all of you that are right here in the virtual living room watching this show. And so we appreciate you all being here. She said, Arn, who are some of the best second and third generation wrestlers, and some who didn't make the cut in their career? So when you think of second and third generation wrestlers, who are some of the top that come to your mind as, man, they made it. They really took what was before them and became big stars. And then maybe a few guys that, hey, they tried their hand at it, just didn't seem to be their thing.
Cody, Dustin, got to put them at the top.
No brainers for sure. Yep.
Brad Armstrong, got to put him up there in that group. Gosh, help me out here with
Randy
some
Orton.
choices. Randy Orton.
Yeah.
I mean, and let me tell you, his dad, Bob Orton Jr. and Dick Slater, were my reasons for getting in the wrestling business. Bob Orton Jr., I don't think gets enough credit for the performer that he was, as well as Dick Slater. And Randy came right behind him, every bit as good, but in a different way. Their styles are not the same. They're completely different. Help me out here.
Some guys are putting some Kurt Hennig, that's what Mike Graham.
Curtis Axel should have been able to been called whatever his name, Joe Hennig.
Yeah,
think of the boost that would have gave him, Paul.
Yeah, from the get-go.
For whatever reason, they just wouldn't let him be himself. And
it never worked out. I thought that DiBiase's kid would have been able to do more when he was with Cody and Randy.
It just got shortchanged. To your point, I feel like they had another year run, Randy and those two.
Yeah,
I think it got cut off way too short.
Dan said Eric Watts on the other side wasn't one of the ones that, I don't know, that I guess second generation, you think about it, Bill Watts and him. Who else? Oh, Bray Wyatt, Andrew Big Reds, our research guy, and Taylor. Yeah.
and Taylor, which, didn't get to probably do everything that he was possible for him to do. He was a tremendous performer. He really was.
Let me ask you about this guy, because I don't know if maybe you had the opportunity to work with him at all when you were in WWE, maybe because he was in developmental. Did you ever have any interaction with Ricky Steamboat's son?
No, he was down there at the Florida Championship Wrestling, and I went down and scouted a couple times while he was there, but not for any more than that. I got to see him, but I mean, how can you be Steamboat's kid and not have some talent?
Right. I always thought, man, his his genetic, whoever, he's got to be a phenomenal talent. You would just assume based on what Ricky was able to accomplish, but I think injuries and other things led to him making a career change.
Yeah, I wasn't sure of the entire story, but
yeah,
I think he did get hurt.
Yeah,
which it happens a lot,
Yeah.
and people just disappear off TV or off the roster, and nobody knows why. And in those days, you didn't make a big deal about where they were or why they weren't there. You just realized they weren't there.
Sure, for sure. Well, we have another super chat that just came in, and I'm going to let you guess who you think it. Actually, it's from Efren Claus. Arn, he has given us another $20.
Oh my God!
He says you just popped him, Efren. He says thanks for the dinner menu, Arn, but you forgot to tell us about the desserts and drinks. And when you answer this, please be careful of Bromwell's drool, which may cause you to slip when you stand up from your chair.
Now, did we not include the peanut butter cookies?
You did mention peanut butter cookies
with the piece of chocolate in the middle, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And we had the no bake cookies.
You did say no bake. I think Efren was so caught up in the stuffed mushrooms and the prime rib and the lobster tail and all that other stuff, it just completely missed it.
You try those two desserts on and tell me they don't qualify.
Oh yeah.
Those no bake cookies are off the hook, brother.
Are you an iced tea guy, or what do you like to drink with your meal?
I like unsweetened iced tea. Crazy thing, when I quit drinking alcohol, I started drinking a lot of water, and now I'm addicted to it. It just, you realize that you feel better in some ways that you can't really explain, but it's all those years when you're just drinking beer and you're not drinking enough water, you get the hangovers were worse and cramping was a little bit worse. You couldn't figure out why. How about you're dehydrated? Be smart, drink some water. So that would be my drink of choice: ice water and unsweetened iced tea.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Can you see me now? That McDonald's Wi-Fi kicked in again, and somebody had a big order: Big Mac, quarter pounder, large fry. So it took me a little bit. I'm back now.
Tell them to put a little bit of salt on the fries. I don't know why they cut that out.
And Efren, for dessert, they ordered the chocolate chip cookies and a caramel latte. So McDonald's order's taken. We're back. But man, I hear you. The last I heard you talking was about the water and how that's really changed you in terms of you really are addicted to drinking it. So that's good.
That's what's good for you.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Yeah. Poor Paul. I thank you guys. Yeah. Paul's glitching like a son bitch. Best show ever with him frozen, says Efren. Efren, appreciate that. Now, the funny part is I can't get his, let me see. Can I get his super chat? Yeah. Okay, cool. I thought that was going to be frozen. So good stuff. All right, let's keep going. Ryan says, Arn, with the mental health being a big deal now, do you wish there were resources during your time to help the boys? It would have saved probably a lot of lives.
Yeah, absolutely. It's had a lot of guys die due to abuse of alcohol and drugs. And I'm sure there was some mental health issues that didn't get diagnosed because that would have had a stigma even worse than the drugs and alcohol, I think. You know what I mean? And that was
absolutely.
something You didn't want anybody to know you had mental issues and problems and things of that nature. It just would have held a different stigma, and it's a shame. It really is.
For sure. We're going to go back to you, Tim Angston. You had a super chat earlier, and coming back to you, he said, my friends and I, Arn, are going back and becoming even bigger fans of Rick Rude and have much more appreciation for him. Any good stories about Rick Rude?
He was a guy that just pretty much, he had it all. He had an incredible look. He was a handsome guy, good physique. He took his time on the matches that he would have. He wouldn't get in a hurry. He didn't do a lot of things that were super dangerous. I mean, you didn't see him doing moonsaults out to the floor and things of that nature. Everything he did had a meaning, and he didn't waste his efforts on things that didn't pertain to the story he was telling. And strong in the weight room, a lot stronger. I mean, you could tell he had a good physique, but it was more of a cosmetic thing. You wouldn't realize that guy could probably bench, I don't know, he could probably bench 450. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Incredible.
And tough guy from what I've heard. Glad I wasn't on the wrong end of one of those beatings, but what I heard growing up and all that, that Minnesota area, there were some tough guys came out of there. And when the tough guys are all saying Rick Rude's a tough guy, you tend to believe them.
No doubt about it. And one of the, like you said, one of the Minnesota connection. And man, they were pumping out some serious wrestlers back then. You think about the Road Warriors and Rick Rude and just so much talent. It was a hotbed for the wrestling industry for so long in the 80s.
Sure was.
All right, let's continue going. And someone wants to know about your upper back and upper body workout, Arn. What kind? Glocks and Grippers says, what kind of upper back workout did Arn do? He may not get credit as a body guy, but he had the neck and upper back of a pit bull at various times in his career.
Wow. Always tried to do decently heavy shoulder presses, but with a machine. You can handle a little more weight if it wasn't free weights. Always tried to do some lat work, which it kind of had a different meaning for me. The main thing you had to be in our business is limber if you're going to protect yourself, and those overhead lat pulls would stretch out your neck area, your trap area, besides what it would do for your back. And, I just didn't have the genetics to have a great body, but I would do the things and train. I did some inclines, pretty decent, never a big bencher. But you would train whatever body parts may have been weaker or ailing or something you could get hurt. As a result of, you would try to spend your time concentrating on those, even though a lot of times it wasn't your familiar or your favorite exercises.
What do you do now, Arn? I know you still go to the gym every day. Sometimes that's when we talk to each other when you're on your way to the gym. What do your workouts look like now at this point in your life?
Okay. And this one's easy to do, and it gives you some freedom. If you want to sweat every day, and a lot of us do, doesn't mean you're going to be training heavy, but start your week with chest, then go to shoulders the next day, and you do about 20 sets. Back and arms, third day. If you're going to do legs, that'll be fourth. And you just keep that rotation, and you start over with after legs, and you go back to chest, shoulders, back and arms, legs, and just go a string of days. It doesn't matter if it's 6 days, 10 days, you may go 15 days, but you really bomb that one body part, and you can get in and out of the gym in 45, 50 minutes, which when you're traveling like we had traveled, I did this workout for years, right at the end of, and I just, right at the end of my career, and I just stayed with it. And it just, it allows you to take a day off whenever your body says, man, I'm tired. I just don't feel like doing it today. You don't have to feel guilty. Just take a day off. You'll be surprised having that flexibility of just take a day off whenever you want without feeling guilty. It's good for the head.
It's a very, I'm glad you shared. It's a very similar workout to Efren, who has been here in the chat, that he follows on a daily basis. So he shared that with me personally before. So Efren, you're doing something right too. You're doing the Arn workout. So congratulations. Next up, Mr. Abdu says, question for Arn. Why is Dynamite Kid so overlooked when discussing the best in-ring technicians ever? Bret Hart says Dynamite is the best he ever witnessed. Did NWA guys rate him? Arn, did you work or talk about your interaction with Dynamite?
Those of us that have never worked with him or been in a territory, when Tully and I first got there, I think we might have had 1 or 2 matches with the Bulldogs before they left, but we were never in the same territory. If it was 2 matches, it's probably all I recall, and I don't really recall that many. It could have been 1, it could have been 2, but it wasn't very many. And those guys that really can't attest to how good he was are guys that were not in the territory with him. They were pretty much WWF, and everything else was Japan or somewhere else, but mostly WWF.
Yeah. By the way, real quick, CG, our buddy who's here, he says, I'm coming over to the Andersons' house for Christmas dinner. I'll bring a case of Hershey with almonds. Now, Arn, you've sworn off those Hershey with almonds, haven't you?
And everyone was very gracious over the 3 days I was in Columbus. They did not tempt me. There were no candy bars.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Because I can't turn it down, guys. You got to be my conscious, and let's take a break.
Yes. There you go. Scotty Reed says, hey, Arn and Paul, checking in from work again. In case I don't see you all again before Christmas, have a Merry Christmas. Scotty, Merry Christmas to you and your family, man, and hope you enjoy your time. And I hope you guys all get some time off over the holidays and spend it with the people that you love. Darth Payne has a wrestling-related question. We're about 50 minutes into the show, so I'm going to try to see if I can get as many questions in, guys, as I can. He said, hey, guys, back in 1990 during the program with Doom, Ron Simmons and Butch Reed, I remember when Double A and Rick wrestled Doom, and Double A and Barry did. Did Sid ever team up with you, Double A, or Rick or Barry versus Doom? Merry Christmas, guys. Do you remember working with Doom and some of the guys that maybe you would have wrestled with against those big boys?
Yeah, well, I very, very vividly remember Barry and I. We had a street fight. I think it was St. Louis. Matter of fact, it was a hell of a fight. Ron Simmons is a beast, and let me tell you something.
That's when he introduced himself to you.
I found out pretty quickly who he was.
Yeah.
And his partner, Butch Reed, is no slouch. Those guys were a great team, probably really underrated. But, I mean, Simmons was a guy, he'd walk in, sit down in the gym. He'd have on cowboy boots and blue jeans, a T-shirt. He would come to the gym. He would do 135 on the bench, 225, 315, probably skip up to 405, then maybe 455. He was a 600-pound bencher when he was at his very peak. But this would just be when he was on the road doing this. He would never push it to the maximum. But, I mean, I saw him bang out 450 for 8.
Hmm.
I mean, that's ridiculous with blue jeans and cowboy boots.
I just saw a picture of him with JBL down at WrestleCade and their APA gimmick shirts and stuff. He still looks like a bad man.
Yeah, he'd still kill you. He is not to be, Ron Simmons is not to be messed with.
Yeah, no doubt.
Period.
Note to self. Bryant Haremza, longtime listener. Arn, we got to meet and talk with him when we were in Iowa earlier this year. He says, in with a super chat, Brian, thank you very much. Which did Arn prefer for getting heat? Using the ropes to cheat to win or using a foreign object to win?
I think I'd prefer the ropes. If done cleverly, the referee can't see it. The opponent really doesn't know until it's over and somebody tells him. You carefully disguise it, and whether it's a foot on the ropes or grabbing the ropes behind your back or whatever, I think it's a little more diabolical. If you've got a foreign object, why do you wait so long to use it?
Right.
Food for thought. If you use it at the 15-minute mark and you've had it hit on you the whole time, why did you wait so long? That was always my question. And maybe that's overthinking it, but it's first time I got in trouble, I believe I'd be pulling that foreign object out.
We got a question from the boss, and I don't think it's Magnum TA, but maybe it is. He says, Arn, recently on Ted DiBiase's podcast, he told the story of the fake ear in your beer. He says it was Mad Dog Bashan. Bret Hart says it was Mr. Perfect. What's your recollection of this rib?
Bret Hart didn't he didn't admit to doing it.
No, Bret Hart said it was Kurt Hennig.
Bret Hart is lying.
Oh,
we were in the Marriott bar, and I want to say it's Salt Lake City. The friend was DiBiase's, I think, who was a civilian who was there that had been in a fire and burned his ear off, and so he had a fake plastic ear. So show's over, we're having a few drinks at the Marriott, and somebody got my attention. Now, I was not drinking beer. I was drinking double sea breezes. So that was a tall glass with some ice. So somebody got my attention, asked me something, and I turned around, took a big slug off that sea breeze, and falling right on my nose would be that man's ear. And everybody popped. And I went, what's so funny? Oh, Jesus. I turned that cup down, and there sat the ear. And I looked up at DiBiase's buddy, and they were rolling. And he just had a flat part on his head, no ear. I started puking. I puked all the way out of the bar, all the way through the lobby, and all the way outside.
And you know it was Bret Hart.
Yeah, and I know it was Bret Hart.
I love it.
So if he's switching the heat, he's lying.
Yep. Switching the heat to someone who can't even defend himself right now, Kurt Hennig. And Efren says, I love a good ear on the nose, I'm sure. But man, what a story. What a story. But Arn's here to set the record straight, guys. It was Bret Hart all the way. The best there was, and the best there is, the best there ever will be.
I'm glad it didn't make it in my mouth.
Yes. Good
that could have been like convulsions and all kind of nasty things happening because of that.
Tim says, hey, Paul and Arn, I hope life is treating you both well. Paul, loved your co-hosting since the Kurt show. Well, thanks, Tim. He said, question for Arn, favorite team or single guy to work with? Favorite tag team to work with or favorite single guy to work with? What's the first team or person that pops in your head?
Rockers, Brad Armstrong. Because it's too easy to say what everybody says when asked that question. They all say Steamboat, those that have wrestled. And accordingly, he should be. But that's just too easy to go right to Ricky. Brad Armstrong was talent personified. Most guys never got an opportunity to be in the ring with him and have 15, 20 minutes on a live event. He was as smooth and talented as anybody.
Question. Shawn Michaels, you ever have a conversation with him to say, hey, you and Marty were top opponents for me as a tag team wrestler.
He always, when asked, would give us kudos and say they learned more working with Tully and I than they had up until that point in the business, which I thought was a hell of a compliment. They hadn't quite yet been separated and used. They were kind of used in the middle, and we were on our way up. We had just gotten there, and we're working our way up the ranks. And they would always give us credit for teaching them, and we did. They were so good and so teachable, so coachable, and just talented, really talented.
I thank you all for being so forgiving with this Wi-Fi debacle. But we're about to go home here and wrap up the episode. Arn, this has been a tremendous treat. And there's someone here that I wanted to share a message from, and her name's Daisy Mama. And she said, I just want you to know that I'm thankful for the show tonight. This will be my first Christmas since both of my parents both passed away within a couple weeks of each other this year. Hearing these stories helps. So, Arn, do you have a message for Daisy Mama, who obviously is about to go through the holidays and super rough time for her?
Well, I hope and pray that she has other family that she can lean on. I can't even imagine those losses, mother and father. It puts a hole in your heart that'll never be totally sealed up. But that's part of life. You know, the day we're born is we start dying that particular day, the next day. You know, death is something you cannot count on. You can never predict. And most people, the hardest thing is that I found when you're dealing with situations like that, losing a family member, is the people that love you want to say something to take the pain away. And there's just nothing suitable. And that frustration that you have trying to help that person get through it is the worst of all, because nothing helps. So God bless you. All I can say is go to the times in your life with your mom and dad that are good times and relive them time after time after time. Just relive the good times. That's all we can do.
Daisy Mama, I want to thank you for sharing that. Something that I wanted to share with all of you, because we are family, and I'm going to do that as we wrap up, because I knew this was really the only time that I'd be able to do it. Just want to let you all know that my father actually passed away this weekend. Arn knows that, and I really wanted to do this show to take a break from everything that's going on this week. He lived with us for the last 6 years. I just had lunch with him on Friday, feeling great. Awesome. We had a great time, and came home Saturday, and I found him, and just completely surreal. And so there's just a lot going on this week. But when Arn said, do you still want to do the show? I said yes, because it'll be therapeutic, and I'm really enjoy doing this with you, Arn. So I say all that to say, just keep me and my family in your thoughts and prayers, especially on Friday for the services. There's just been a lot going on, but I'm trying to do things like this and a little bit from work as well, just to keep my mind preoccupied. But I want to thank all of you for all your support. I love being able to do this. My dad was a great man, and I was so fortunate to be able to have this extra time with him the last several years. And so for that, I'm thrilled. I'm glad my boys were able to spend some extra time with him as well. And the holidays, as they're approaching, as you said, Daisy, it's going to be rough. So I totally understand what you mean by that. But, as Arn just said, when we're born, the dying process begins, and that's how it works. But we can be thankful for the times and cherish the moments. So my message to all of you is hug your family members, spend time with them over the Christmas holidays. Don't leave without telling them that you love them. My favorite thing is my 10-year-old always said to my dad, whenever their interaction was done, bye, Papa, love you, every single time. and just don't forget to tell people you love them. And this is a great opportunity to do that over the holidays. And I just want to thank all of you for all your support and everything that you do for this show. Arn, I can't say thank you enough for all the support as well, man. Love you, man.
Love you back, buddy. Hang in there. It's all we can do. And just, again, go in your head, go inside your head. Nobody can take that away from you. And just find that thing that maybe either made you laugh or made you feel good or whatever it is, and exploit it. Make it right at the forefront of what you think about every day.
Guys, we love you all so very much. You are our family, as Arn always says. We have such a great time with you. And we're going to be back again in the new year. And I hope that you do enjoy the next few weeks, as we said, with your family and friends. I'll give you the date right here as we close out the show. And I see all of your comments, by the way. And I thank you so much. I'm going to hang out after I close the stream and read all of them, each and every one of them. So thank you. Tuesday, January the 7th. 6 o'clock. Set your calendar, set the time, set the date. We're going to be back and better than ever. Arn and I in 2025. I can't believe that I'm saying that. In 2025, back together again that evening. So make it a priority. Arn and I are looking to entertain you and have a great time. But until then, please let your folks know, your family know you love them. Enjoy the holiday season. And thank you for supporting us. Check us out, onetruesport.com. That's where you get all the cool stuff like this, merchandise that we're wearing right now. We keep adding to the store. Arn, you have a nice Four Horsemen vest, a nice vest that's headed your way that got sent to you, and you didn't even know that. I didn't even tell you. So be looking out for that. Yep, I hope you like it. Hopefully it'll be there right in time for Christmas time. But yeah, so we're really proud of the merch over there, and make sure that in 2025, make it a goal to come see Arn somewhere at one of these awesome shows. He's going to be at WrestleCon, right around Royal Rumble. And so a lot of great events and great things to come next year. Arn, thank you so much for doing the show with me.
Right back at you, buddy. I love you.
Love you, man. On behalf of the great Arn Anderson, this was Paul Bromwell, and we'll see you right here next year on Arn.